Welcome to Heroes Rise the Prodigy. I'm Grimith, your narrator. Heroes Rise is a trilogy of game books by developer Choice of Games, and I'll be playing the entire series for at least 7 hours as part of a Rewarding the Rewarders request. I've recorded choose-your-own-adventure stories in the past, and I do enjoy them, so I'm looking forward to our time together. I've never played this game before, so I can't say how long I'll spend on each title. Hell, I might not even make it to the third book within 7 hours. There's a number of achievements, both in-game and through Steam, but my only goal here is survival. I don't know how hard that'll be. Some game books are more ruthless than others. We'll see. To avoid viewer spoilers, I'll record my entire playthrough before uploading it to YouTube, and I would appreciate it if you don't talk about the guts of the game, or the results of alternate choices, or the bigger picture of it all until the final video. I want the comments to be a relaxing area where people can hypothesize and come up with their own headcanons. After all, as a game book, I'm lashed onto a pretty severe railroad. That was a bad sentence. That was me calling myself a game book. After all, because I'm playing a game book, I'm lashed onto a pretty severe railroad, and I haven't the foggiest how much my choices will actually matter. These choose-your-own-adventure stories can often present the illusion of choice, which is a common feature in video games. I don't think there's any sound, by the way, and I won't provide any music for you. I can't predict your tastes. What I will do is read everything, and I'll spend some time vocalizing my thought processes before making a decision. If I can't make up my mind, I'll roll a die. Choose-your-own-adventure stories sometimes involve leaps of faith, where you simply have insufficient data to make a strong conclusion. We'll see how far my blind playthrough takes me. Some technical notes. I got this on a full screen, very simple and easy to capture. I'll go ahead and disappear that image at the bottom, which is just a little explanation of how this request came to be. And there's little bars at the top and bottom, just due to how I've set up the window capture. It should be. I think it'll be suitable enough. Your view will also be a little darker. You won't have to deal with the blinding white light of everything. I think you'll still be able to read just fine. If you can't, well, I'll read for you. Anywho, we have some stats here. Our codename is unknown. We have 4 bars here. Fame and Justice, Lawless and Lawful, Offensive and Defensive, Soloist and Team Player, along with our power level, which is not even in the quadruple digits, health, money, and our legend. We also have relationship bars. However, we apparently don't have anyone known at the time. Good for us. And here is an achievement button. There are 17 possible achievements, including 4 hidden achievements. I'm not reading any of that. So, that's a thing. Also, one final note. I did buy the entire trilogy while it was on sale, I think. Like, back as part of, like, the winter sale at the start of this year. I think that's when I bought it. And it was actually cheaper to buy the titles with, like, their perfect legend achievement guides that the developer made and released on Steam. The quirk about them is that you can't actually get access to them until you've completed the game once. So, there's that. And I also don't know, like, the saving policy. I don't know, like, where my saves are located on my computer. I like to make backup copies of my saves between each video. Pretty much every game I play. And if you've been a long-time follower of my channel, you've seen that. So I better do something right with my recording in the one shot. At least I don't have to worry about volume balancing. Anyway, that's 4 minutes of bullshit. How about we actually get on with it, yeah? Heroes Rise the Prodigy. Part 1. Legend Has It. Chapter 1. Homeward Bound. A helicopter blade slices through the air, inches away from your face, filling your nostrils with the smell of burning metal. You don't have time to process this, however, as a ball of flame unfurls in your direction. You leap onto a neighboring rooftop and tumble around a smoldering chunk of engine. Today was supposed to be your day off, but when you saw a news chopper careening out of control above the city, you couldn't just stand by like a common pedestrian. As you pull clear of the wreckage, you see that the ejected pilot floats high above the rooftops from a parachute, one that is crawling with licks of flame. It won't be long before the parachute burns through, and the pilot drops hundreds of stories to his death. So, how are you going to save him? Rip up the cables that run along the roof and use them to lasso the pilot down? Use the zip cord from your wrist holster to reel in the pilot, or forget the pilot. He'll be able to steer himself onto one of the rooftops. It's much more important to stop the burning wreckage from falling to the busy streets below. I'm choosing this third option. This is the only option I've had the luxury of staring at while I've been doing recording tests and stuff. And I think I, or at least this character that I've made here, is going to care about the greater good. And fuck that individual asshole pilot. Let's move on. You spin around and see the severed tail of the helicopter teetering on a ledge. You rush back across the roof to stop it from falling, completely forgetting about the chunk of fuel-soaked engine that you dodged before. As you approach the helicopter tail, an explosion rocks the engine. A blast of heat hits you full force, searing the skin from your bones. As your vision fades to black, you remove the virtual reality helmet and end your 3D gaming experience. You blink several times to adjust to the sunlight in the room, which pours in through sleek glass windows. Then you look across the conference table at a buttoned-up executive eyeing you. "So, what do you think? They really ramped up the graphics, right?" she blurts out. "Oh, don't spoil the surprise. Take the game home for your full report. You can collect your advance from the front desk on your way out. Thanks as always, You are Virtuous Reality's best game tester, but this executive still doesn't know your name. You force a smile and remind her that you are a guy named... I'd rather create my own first name. My first name is Grimith. Right, Grimith, always a pleasure. The executive then strides out the door, no doubt on her way to a more important meeting, so you walk toward the front desk alone, thinking that you'd much rather be out there saving real helicopter crashes than testing fake ones, but hey, at least it pays the bills. Though not very well, you think, as you accept a deposit for $100 at the front desk. Adding this amount to your bank account brings you to a grand total of $2,100. Not exactly rolling into $21 is not an insignificant amount. Also, I did not know that was a virtual reality thing, and I considered for a few seconds that I actually picked a kill me option with the first choice. That didn't do anything to me. Cool. You push all thoughts of money from your mind as you exit into the bustling streets of Millennia City, nestled on America's west coast between Los Angeles and San Francisco. I wonder if there's an option for me to increase font size. No. And I don't think there's one in the menu. Huh. Oh, I'd have to use the fucking disability magnifier on Windows. Nestled on America's west coast between Los Angeles and San Francisco, Millennia City is the shining beacon of 22nd century progress, not to mention the city you've called home for your entire life. You step into the crowd next to a woman whose skin is covered in fishy scales, each one reflecting a different color. You suppose this might surprise some people, but not you. New York City has finance. I was confused why these acronyms were coming into play. I looked up Millennia City, not New York City. LA has entertainment, and DC has politics. But MC, mind control, has heroes. It's the powered capital of the country. A fact you're reminded of as a sonic boom pulses through the air. You look up to see twin blondes rocketing across the sky, a cloud of smoke left in their wake. You sigh, knowing that you belong up there with the legends, instead of down here with the masses. We got a little bit of this entitled arrogance to us. These days, 1 out of every 3 people is born with powered abilities, and pretty much every one of them wants to be a hero, especially now that powered heroes have eclipsed movie stars and music icons to set the standard for A-list celebrity. You'd also love to be flying home right now, considering that you have the power to fly. However, after one too many gruesome mid-air collisions, the Department for the Regulation of Powered Resources designated the skies for government-licensed travelers only. So, flying is definitely off-limits for you, but do you let that stop you? Absolutely. Heroes are meant to enforce the law, not break it? Or of course not. I was born to fly, no matter what the law says. Because tramps like us, baby, we were born to fly. Why on earth would you take the Metroway when you could be careening through the air, cutting your trip to a fraction of the time. Sure, the cost of transportation has grown insanely cheap since the Big Sur fusion plant was constructed, and the economist Maria Prisco calculated the cure for inflation. But that doesn't stop the Metroway from taking forever during rush hour. Even though it would be very bad to get caught flying illegally, you've been soaring around MC ever since you could crawl fly, so you know all the best routes to keep yourself hidden from view. Stepping into a deserted alley, you leap into the air and tense your muscles to kickstart your flight powers. Most people think flying feels like floating, but you know it really feels more like swimming. It takes a lot of muscle control and endurance. Luckily, you've been training for years, the way a runner trains for a marathon, so you can fly today without much trouble. You pull upward, feeling gravity work with you instead of against you. Keeping close to the cover of the rooftops, you begin to weave your way home, cruising in and out of clearings with missile precision. And when a helicopter buzzes its way through the sky above you, you can't help but smile. 5 minutes later. And I am certainly a little lawless, and I lost a little power, courtesy of my flight. You drop down to the street as you enter your neighborhood, Millennia City's eastern fringes, which consists mostly of public housing projects, pawn shops, and liquor marts. Despite its lack of charm, the fringes are still home, so you start to relax as you approach your apartment building. A loud crunch of glass snaps your senses to attention. Half a block up, you spot a body that has been thrown through the windshield of a car. A teenage boy with writhing snakes coiled around his outstretched arms stands on the sidewalk nearby. Before you can even blink, the body in the windshield leaps into the sky. It's another teenage boy whose woolly knees bend backward, like a goat's. Slugger, you curse to yourself. Another animal gang fight. The eastern fringes are home to a large portion of the animalistic powered population, widely known to have the most interspecies tension. There's an especially fierce feud between two local anti-gangs, the Cloven and the Scales. I like that. The Cloven. I like that name. Just reading through some text there to immerse myself in the feel. As Goat Boy bounds through the air, Snake Boy reacts. His armed snakes surge forward, straightening their impossibly long bodies and clamping onto Goat Boy's thighs with their teeth. Snake Boy then whips his arms back, using the snakes as... I whip my arms back and forth. Using the snakes as levers to smash Goat Boy into the pavement. Knowing Goat Boy won't be able to survive much more snake thrashing, you run toward the scene and jump into the fray, striking hard and fast, or hang back and contain the situation from a distance. Let's jump into the fray, striking hard and fast. You're on Snake Boy so fast, he doesn't even see it coming. In addition to your flight powers, you also have the ability to generate and wield surges of energy. Which power do you want to utilize here? Take Snake Boy out with a focused blast of energy? Fly tackle Snake Boy like a human battering ram? I don't need to use my powers to end this. Let's, I mean, we know so little about ourselves or our situation. We have certainly become a bit more offensive. Makes sense. I want to fly tackle Snake Boy like a human battering ram. Focus blast of energy. Let's get into the melee here. Let's throttle it like you'd strangle a Hydra to death, right? That's what you do with Hydras, right? Right? Yeah. Running at full speed, you jump forward and give yourself a boost with your flight powers. Rocketing like a bullet, you slam into Snake Boy and knock him into a nearby wall. With Snake Boy diverted, you turn your attention back to Goat Boy. He's already bounding up the street, bleeding curses as he flees, which is just as well. Your only goal here was to stop the teens from killing each other, since getting involved is technically an illegal act of vigilantism. Before any powered individual can start a career as a professional hero, he or she must apply for a powered hero license. To lessen the number of applicants, the DRPR makes the process rather lengthy and expensive. You've completed all the paperwork and passed the power competency tests, but you've been saving up for a while to pay the hefty application fee. So with Goat Boy gone and Snake Boy neutralized, it's time to leave before you get into any unnecessary trouble. They were at it for almost 5 minutes, and no one did a thing. You turn around to find a mother and her young daughter standing on the sidewalk, both looking relieved. The mother presses a tissue to the little girl's forehead. against a small cut. They were blocking the door to our building, the mother says. We tried to run inside, but got hit with some debris. These anti-gang fights have been getting so much worse lately. Anyway, who do I have to thank for stopping them? Tell her who you are. The neighborhood needs to know you're watching over them, license or no license, or stay anonymous. You don't do good deeds like this for the attention, especially since it's not even legal. Fuck that. Tell her who you are. The neighborhood needs to know you're watching over them, license or no license. I'm Grimith Sterling. I wish I'd named myself Steel. I'm Steel Sterling. No, those initials are bad. Can't do that, Grimith. I'm Grimith Sterling, you say, shaking her hand. Just doing my part to keep the neighborhood safe. Thank you, Grimith, the mother says. Are you a real live-powered hero? The little girl whispers, gazing up at you. Oh, yes, he is, the mother answers. Just get home safely, you say, as you continue toward home, not wanting to admit that you aren't a real hero. At least not yet. I might have to do like a stupid heroic voice. Just get home safely. I might as well just insert the barrel of a shotgun into my mouth right now. When you finally walk into your apartment, you're hit with the familiar fragrance of flowers. That's thanks to your grandma, who is also powered. Her special ability enables her to communicate with plants, so as far back as you can remember, Grandma has filled your home with every kind of flower and foliage imaginable. Your apartment has always felt like a lush greenhouse, and you couldn't imagine it any other way. You drop your bag near the door and approach your favorite... Huh. Well, I'm not a botanist. I'm not into flowerology here. I'm actually going to look those up right now. Hold on. Let's see whether these damn things exist. Flower? Yeah, it's gold. Makes sense. And then this Bronzina's probably going to be bronze? Okay. And then... Gunmetallia. Gunmetallica. Camedoria Metallica. My mom's favorite band is Metallica. It's probably gotta be what I have to pick, right? I mean, it says Metallica, but when I Google it, it says Metallica. So, I mean, yeah. Well, that's how I make my life judgments. Now I'm having Metallica songs flood into my head. No, let's continue, damn it. Gunmetallia is a silver rose from a species with metallic foliage that Grandma has spent years breeding. You lean in to get a whiff of the rose, which always smells faintly of caramel. Another one of Grandma's unique touches. Caramel's not that bad of a flavor. I'm afraid Gunmetallia has been especially cross with me today, Grandma says, entering the living room. I had to de-thorn her this morning, and now she feels particularly vulnerable. You know how roses get about their thorns. Such a sore point. Well, tell Gunmetallia I think she's still a stunner, thorns or no thorns, you say, approaching Grandma. You know Grandma better than anyone, so you describe her style as... Huh. Did that change anything? I don't think really... Oh, my family relation's pretty cool. Alright. Simple, elegant, kooky, or practical? My grandma certainly wasn't simple. It has been 12 years since I spent time around her. She's been dead for a while. 12 years. How about that? She was very sarcastic. She had, like, this withering, like, cynicism, like, about her. She just, like, utterly, like, eviscerate people, it felt like. Then again, I wasn't that fucking old whenever I talked to her. She definitely wasn't elegant. I wouldn't describe her as simple either. She wasn't kooky. I mean, she was practical. She was a practical person. And I think that's how I'll build Grandma here in this game. Practical. Grandma mostly cares about tending her plants, so she wears overalls with gardening tools in the pockets and keeps her hair tied back at all times. Oh, she doesn't have one of those, like, those fucking, like, old people afros? Oh, man. I've given my mom, so much crap over the years. Like, Mom, I hope you get one of those old people afros like Grandma had. She's like, absolutely not. I would shave my head before I get one of those damn things. Oh, man. You kiss her hello, then step back and point to the new video game you've brought home. Another whopping virtuous reality deposit to add to the pot. Every little bit helps. You know that. Of my limited vocal repertoire, old lady is not one of my voices. I don't even like old people in general, so it's not something I tend to do. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps, you know that, Grandma says. I'm just gonna read it normally. Now, if only I could teach one of these little darlings to start growing money for leaves, I said normally. If anyone can do it, it's you, Gran, you say, walking toward the kitchen. What are we having for dinner? I'm starving. But you stop short as you see the feast laid out on the kitchen table. It appears Grandma has cooked your favorite meal. It's gonna be like Earthbound, right there, my favorite meal. Happy birthday, she says with a grin, hugging your side. Aww. You finally push your plate away, your stomach uncomfortably full. You love Grandma's cooking, but it's usually pretty heavy. What is with the future and your obsession with weight? All meat and bread and pasta, since vegetables tend to scream at Grandma when she tries to eat them. Grandma, where I don't have to eat my vegetables? This is amazing. The Brussels sprouts just start screaming in terror. Well then, now that you've eaten a proper meal, I can finally give you your present, Grandma says, turning to a shelf above the table where several potted plants sit. Their leafy vines hang down across the wall and create a lush green curtain. Guadalupe, would you please? Vasquez is listening. Guadalupe? At Grandma's request, the nearest vine swings toward you, an envelope nestled between its lowest leaves. Go ahead, take it, Grandma practically squeals. I can't wait any longer. Knowing it'd be useless to object, you open the envelope, which is made of silk fabric, never paper, and pull out a card made entirely out of dried rose petals. Grandma never lets anything go to waste, especially not the remains of her best friends. That's a little morbid. And while this rose card is especially lovely, you're really stunned by what's inside. Is it like an application? Is it money so that I can become an actual hero? Or something? A brand new DRPR issued Powered Hero license. For you. You read the license, double checking that the information listed really belongs to you. Department for the Regulation of Powered Resources. Hero license. Name, Grimith Sterling. Gender, male. Marital status, single. Orientation. Since the 21st century political disputes regarding sexual orientation and marriage, the government has required all citizens to declare their orientation along with their marital status. You may think it's a bit of an invasion of privacy, but it was a required field on your application. So you answered that you are attracted to women. Just make sure I've read that correctly. As a matter of fact, I am attracted to women. Next, your code name is Maneuver, Rush, Conduit Charge, SFX. I'd rather create my own code name. I have to save the Chucklefucks one. I was pretty interested in these games before Bit changed the request to go through these games. I was really interested in them to have them as like live broadcasts, where the Chucklefucks would tackle them, as I've given my live broadcast viewers many of these choose-your-own-adventure type things in the past. Executive Suite, Monster Loves You, King of Dragon Pass. I mean, Reaper would be the simple one. Just trying to spend some time thinking if I could come up with anything, like, cuter. Vigilance. Arrogance. Skull punch. I mean, I'm not role-playing one of my tabletop characters. Ooh. Thorak the Ineffable. Giant Bane, son of a sealed cane. The hunter of orcs, the slayer of ogres, the terror of trolls. The Ineffable. Ooh. I think that's better than Reaper. I am Grimith, the Ineffable Sterling. Ooh, I like it. The Ineffable. Codename The Ineffable. You stare down in disbelief at the license. Grandma has just given you the best birthday present ever. How? You start to ask, not sure where to begin. Someone just needed to pay the outstanding bill on your application, Grandma says, beaming. But Gran, this is too much. We can't possibly afford... Hush, Grandma says, crossing her arms. I had to spend all that extra potpourri money on something useful, didn't I? Grandma smiles at you, then looks at the tree in the corner of the kitchen. She nods, and right on cue, the tree begins to shake, letting loose a shower of sparkling seeds. Grandma only has that old tree shake shimmers on the most special of occasions. Thank you, Gran, is all you can manage. It's only what you deserve, Grimith, Grandma says, leaning back in her chair and stroking the shimmer tree. Besides, it's what your parents would have wanted. Thanks, Grandma. Alright, that's chapter 1. And I think I'm going to end the video here. Join me next time when we explore the next chapter. And maybe I'll click that button and hopefully see whether I can make a save backup just in case. Because if anything happens to these videos, it's gotta be somewhere, right? I just don't want to click that restart button by accident. What if there's like no prompt? It just resets me. I'm like, motherfucker. Oh well. Join me later.